Alright, guys. I'm sitting here just chilling. Alright? Rewatching this whole gun thing. Because it really worried me when Trump said due process and take the rights away. And I'm trying to find the exact moment, because I'm trying to make a video on Dianne Feinstein. I'm trying to find the exact moment where Dianne Feinstein is rubbing her greedy hands together because she can finally get the Mr. and Mrs. Here, hold on. All right, so where am I at right here? I'm at 4508. All right, so let me go back into my history here. All right, let's rewatch this again, guys.
California Senator Dianne Feinstein worked for more than a year to get the assault weapons bill passed in the face of ferocious opposition from the National Rifle Association. She says she got the best she could. If I could have gotten 51 votes in the Senate of the United States for an outright ban, picking up every one of them, Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in, I would have done it. I could.
All right, so we see that. I'm sure everybody's heard that before.
The president gathered members of Congress, Democrats and Republicans.
All right, no, that's not it. No. Sorry, guys.
They're showing how anti-American, how anti-Christian they are, how anti-family.
All right. Where is it at? Where is it at? Where is it at? Where is it at? Oh, here it is. What was it at? 48? Yep, here we go.
In the position
Or
of
might
that individual.
take the firearms first and then go to court, because that's another
You see this?
system, because a lot
Watch
of times
out.
by the time you go to court, it takes so long to go to court to get the due process.
All right, first of all, I understand what he means by these mentally deranged people. The issue is Nick Cruz could have been handled by the police, Israel, the sheriff in that town, had a program in his city which was getting a lot of money funded by the government because it looked like there wasn't as many crimes. They were simply slapping people on the wrist, especially minorities. Or Nick Cruz looked white. What? Because he had a last name that was diverse. They let him go? I don't know. All I know is that he had held guns to his girlfriend's heads at the house 50 times, or like 48 times. They had been to the house or had calls on him just days in that day, like before the shooting. They were calling saying that he was going to do it. So, I mean, there's no excuses whatsoever. So that's why I think he was MK'd into doing it. If you look at the video I made about him on a part of the interview, he looks just mentally distraught, and I would be too if I just gunned down and shot a girl like 8 times in the hallway. And I just don't know. I saw him getting picked up off the ground, and he was all like his arm. He just looked like mush, and he looked like when, you know, like when I wake up, especially after I drink and I wake up, my brain doesn't work whatsoever. That's what he looked like. He looked like he just got like fucking Men in Black beamed or some shit. But watch Dianne Feinstein's reaction to this.
Procedures, I like taking the guns early, like in this crazy man's case that just took place in Florida. He had a lot of firearms. They saw everything. To go to court would have taken a long time. So you could do exactly what you're saying, but take the guns first, go through due process second.
We think about the tragedy in Sandy Hook, and
That's right.
Watch him right here.
Madam Lanza's mother, who spoke to law enforcement, spoke to local officials. She was concerned over and over again. I know our colleagues from Connecticut lived this and saw it, but to literally give families...
Yeah, your colleagues from Connecticut also had Anderson's CIA Mockingbird Cooper on CNN saying he was live at scene when his nose disappeared from a green screen. You also had a father saying that he held his kid in his arms with his brains bleeding out into his hand, and he died in his arms, when we all know that all the kids died inside and no parents were allowed inside. They obviously excavated the entire elementary school. They just swept down the elementary school, just like they did in New Mexico right now with that Muslim terror, the training, where they found a little kid dead. His kid was found dead on his property, and the prosecutor let them go because, or just like Stephen Paddock's brother with the porn charges, let go because, the jury might be tainted. There's a bunch of judges that are placed by George Soros. He's currently trying to elect Andrew Gillum. I don't know. All I hear here in Florida is that he's the first black governor of Florida. And that's all people are supposed to care about. And it's the same thing as Hillary Clinton. The first woman. Oh, you're bigoted because you don't vote, or you're misogynistic because you don't vote the woman in. Oh, no, now it'll be you're racist because you don't vote Gillum in. No, Gillum's got Soros-backed money. I live in Pinellas County. In Tampa, the Tampa Police Department, are you kidding me? You want to put a Soros-appointed mayor in Tampa? You know how much drugs running out of there? They are going for the Democratic cities first, and they're socializing it. Look, they couldn't win. Hillary couldn't win, so he has to go and place all his shit in. He has to go place all these people in, and it's absolutely disgusting. But he gets uncomfortable about this Adam Lanza.
Law enforcement, as my state has done, as other states have done, to be able to take action to remove those weapons for either a set period of time or longer to make sure that person can't be a threat.
I like that. Mark?
And just to add, obviously that's a state law provision, and I know there's some people working on what we can do at the federal level to incentivize states to do this, but states are allowed to do it right now, and hopefully Florida will do that here shortly, and it brings home this point.
No, hopefully we don't.
The President alluded to it.
They already are. And see, after this happened, look, in Pinellas County, I never would have thought it would happen here. They have a 5-person hit squad like they do in Hawaii, like they do in Oregon and Seattle, where you can just call on your neighbor and they'll come take their guns away. There's 5 deputies or there's 5 LEOs on this team, and that's what, when I contacted my congressman contacted me. I was just sitting down drinking one day, and I got a phone call. I pick up, they said, hey, you were part of City Hall the other night. We didn't get to answer your question. Funny you didn't get to answer my question when everybody else was on the phone. It's funny. You didn't want me talking in front of thousands of other people, did you? No, they didn't want that. They had to call me separately, and I kept pressing pound 3, pound 3, pound 3, pound 3. He just says, and this was right after Parkland, hopefully we can get that in Florida. Well, you know what? They already do have something in Florida. They didn't talk about it on the news here. Since we have alternative media, which is why it's so important to have alternative media, why censorship is so important here, is because they're censoring people like me and people like how I got the information as to that they were actually in my city taking guns away from people unlawfully who never committed a crime. I talked to it was not my congressman, but it was someone who works for the congressman, and he actually verified, and he said, yes, that is happening. I learned that from alternative media. I didn't learn that from the news. I follow the news very carefully. Look, I work 13-hour shifts. I'm listening to it all the time. Nobody ever told me about that.
Congressman Rutherford just touched on it as well. There are people here that tried to do something. They called. They called the FBI. They called the sheriff's office.
They did. He's right about that. They called. So Marco Rubio, why do you want to put laws in place that are going to restrict actual rights of citizens who have not committed crimes like they're currently doing here in Pinellas County? They're taking guns away from people who have not committed crimes. Say, oh, I saw my neighbor, he's known to drink a little bit, but he was walking in his backyard open carrying on his property. I don't like that. I feel uncomfortable. So they come take your guns, and then what they want is you have to prove your sanity to a judge so you can get your guns back. That's not how the Constitution works. That's not how the Second Amendment works. It's not how it works, and they're already trying it here. Unfortunately, in my city, I thought this would be in Seattle or Washington where I first heard it, and I said, oh, that'll never come to Florida. It's happening here, right in my city. Shit got me pissed off.
Legally, they had no recourse to sort of get ahead of this and stop it in terms of taking away his guns and placing them in a facility or some other measure with a court order.
They had the recourse to investigate what they were talking about. See, they make it so ridiculous. Look, I'm sorry, but if someone's pointing guns at people's heads, they need to be Baker Acted and they need to get their rights taken away from them. That's just who wouldn't want that, all right? Look, so what they're going off of precedent now is this is what they used to do this whole thing in Pinellas County that you don't hear about here, to start taking guns away from people. They're starting it. Look, George Soros is funding candidates here in Florida. That Andrew Gillum, the first black governor. Ooh, everybody's going to vote him because he's black. Ooh, he won the first black governor. Just because he's black doesn't mean it's good for our community. Doesn't mean it's good for our city. Doesn't mean it's good for our state. They want him to be the governor while they're also placing Tampa Bay, which is the local hub for drugs. Tampa Bay comes off the port. Same as Miami. I'm sure he's already got candidates in Miami. They're trying to place a mayor in Tampa Bay that's Soros-backed. They're trying to place a governor here that's Soros-backed. They're already taking guns away.
From being able to do this. And even if law enforcement had gone to see him, they would have been limited ultimately in their options as well. So
not if you put a gun to someone's head.
And I think there may be something we can do to incentivize it. I know we've been talking to your office and Senator Blumenthal and others, but ultimately states can do that now, the way multiple states have already done it. Hopefully Florida will do.
Mr. President, in the 21st Century Cures Bill, Senator Murphy and I worked on, part of it involved the Mental Health and Safe Communities Act. We provided additional grants to jurisdictions that use assisted outpatient treatment. So it's sort of a variation on what
more
the
Baker acting.
Vice President talked about. Adam Lanza's mother, if he wasn't compliant.
Did you see that? Watch how his arms. Watch his arms over here.
Senator Murphy and I worked on.
When he speaks of Adam Lanza, his arms come uncrossed.
We provided additional grants to jurisdictions that use assisted outpatient treatment. So it's sort of
Adam Lanza's fake.
What the Vice President talked about. Adam Lanza's mother, if he wasn't compliant with his medical.
Did you see that? Donald Trump's kind of uncomfortable about that. I wonder why. I don't know, guys. I gotta find it where Dianne Feinstein's rubbing her hands together. I'll find it. I love you guys. I hope you guys are having a good morning. Born Hawkeye, I love y'all. Do your due diligence. Call your congressmen. Call your senators. Make sure you know what's going on. Make sure if you're a parent, you know your kid's school curriculum so they're not telling them how to masturbate at the age of, 7 years old or whatever, like second, third grade is. 5, 6, 7. You always add 5 to like the grade. Make sure you know your kid's school curriculum. Make sure you know everything what's going on, all right? It's just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. As long as we have the army out there full of hawks and people who actually care about our country, then we'll be fine. As long as they're not stifling me. If you like the video, please give it a like. If you dislike the video, please dislike. I love you guys. And I hope you get... Why did it just black out? That was very strange. I love you guys. Have a great day. Born a Hawkeye. Out!